definitely a cabal of CIA or FBI or somebody else who are using these tapes to just keep control of celebrities and politicians and academics and all of that.
I don't mind that RFK had a worm in his brain because I've been watching a lot of Dune recently.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been taking spice. Spice turns you into a worm. He's got a gravelly throat because of all the spice he's been taking.
I think he should just have a good cry and get it out of his system. Yeah, my feet are definitely in there.
No, your feet. Well, if you put them up, yes, they will be.
Okay.
Okay. You could, I mean, put your feet in there. The last one we did, my feet were in there the whole time.
Were they?
Yeah, when we were in brush.
Oh, when we were in brush, yeah.
My dogs.
Thanks for trimming that down so much, by the way. I feel like that was potential to be the best episode. It ended up being just pretty bland because it's like, please, everyone at work just found out how to do stand-up. Please cut out all the things that I said about everything.
I was disheartened when I got that text. There's a lot of things I'm like, well, I can think off the top of my head 3 things that have to go right away. that I was like, not only do they have to go from the podcast, they were going to be clips.
I know. It would have been such good
they were
clips.
But no, I got to hide it entirely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody, you know how it is. It's a little Mike's back. I know you guys were thinking, wow, it's been 5 episodes. Where's Mike? Mike's back.
And it turns out I've been down here the whole time.
We're in Mike's office in his lovely home here in Southern California. I don't want people to know where you live.
That's good. That's good.
We have a special Nuka Cola Victory. Did the Quantum a couple episodes ago, and now we got the Victory.
Yeah.
Gives bonus to your ability points.
And what was the soda you gave me the first time?
First one we ever did was Mr. Cucumber.
Mr. Cucumber. It was terrible.
Then in Brush, we had a Moxie. We had a Moxie elixir.
I liked that, didn't I? Yeah.
You were.
I was pretty drunk, though.
Yeah. Kind of messed with your taste buds a little bit.
We got down with those swingers, and we just had to have something to rinse the taste out of my mouth.
I was just so tired. I just needed something to hydrate.
That glass of milk in the freezer didn't do it.
So we got a Nuka Cola Victory. Peach Mango, which Mike was nasty about when he found out the flavor, and he said, you give me all the bad, terrible flavors.
Everyone else is getting like, oh, here's a chocolate soda. Oh, here's like a classic Dr. Peppery.
That happened one time.
And then I'm like, here's Victory Mango liqueur. What is this? It's
Peach Mango.
Peach Mango. Peach
right.
Mango.
Get in there. Peach Mango. Oh, some confident glugs.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not. Yeah, it's better than the cucumber. I would drink this on June 9th at Comedy Works South.
June 9th, Comedy Works South. I forgot that was the first
thing to say.
Because 90% of people who listen to the episode stop after the first 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
So we were supposed to say this sooner. Now we're 3 minutes in. We're too deep. June 9th, Denver, Comedy Works South. Please come. Mike's headlining.
Featuring.
I'm featuring.
We got our little baby boy coming to host for us.
Jason Alexander's hosting. And if you guys are like, who's Jason Alexander? Do you remember that kind autistic boy I had a couple times on the podcast? He's on too. So June 9th, please buy tickets. Do you have like a promo code like Stop the Steal or anything?
I do. I think it's Mike 50. I think is the code to get 50% off.
Mike 50. Buy tickets June 9th, Comedy Works South.
If it's not, both of you can just DM me, and I'll get you whatever it is you need.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you excited? Are you excited to?
Oh.
Is this your first time featuring at Comedy Works?
Yes.
Besides the time you were supposed to feature for me, and then
No,
I just dropped you from the show.
I was supposed to do a 5-minute
as you brought
guest spot.
all of your wife and family and friends.
To do a 5-minute guest spot, and Ben Bryant, no fault of his, was hosting, and he didn't know I was supposed to do a guest spot.
It was the second night, and we just didn't think to tell him like, oh yeah, Russell's gonna do a set.
I was hanging out in the green room. We were talking about it, and I guess just no one thought to tell Ben.
I feel bad.
So
I still feel bad about
Ben
that.
was like, and coming up first, Elon Stribling. And then Elon went, no, from the back, and he's like, yeah, Elon Stribling, everybody. Elin. And Elin eventually went up, but I was like, I'm not going to go up. And which everyone was like, you should have just walked up. You should have just walked up. And I'm like, no, that's not. So
you should have.
And then, afterwards, I was like, oh, that's weird. Well, I'll just go on after Eland. And you're like, no, that's not how this works at all.
I was recording.
You were recording a special.
And I was so nervous that I was
1,000%.
I honestly, on stage, like for the first 5 minutes, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh man, you just boned Russell. He brought his wife and like friends up here for this. Like, you boned him.
I do. Some people who I brought were a little upset that I brought them up to Comedy
obviously they
Works.
would be, and that you weren't there,
and that I wasn't on.
Oh,
and I was like, no, I
asshole.
get it. Like it was a terrible circumstance, and yeah, you're recording your special.
I was very nervous. So I wasn't thinking clearly.
It didn't rock my world.
Yeah,
it was all right. So don't worry about it.
Eland just had a baby. You just told me that Eland had a baby.
He did.
Congrats, Eland.
We can talk about it.
Good job.
Good job. You did it. Stay in his life.
I've seen him maybe like 15 times over the last couple of months. He's never even mentioned that his girlfriend was pregnant or anything.
You said I didn't know he had a girlfriend.
I didn't know he had a girlfriend.
Mean he doesn't trust you enough to
I mean,
up
clearly
to be vulnerable.
This is actually a little painful to find out. It's like I've done so many shows with him over the last year. I think everyone does because he's booked everywhere.
I've
done
popular.
So many shows. It's just never come up.
He's just a private man.
I guess.
I knew he had a girlfriend. I didn't know she was
Won't
pregnant.
shut the fuck up about Trout, but he's like, eh.
That's the name of his son.
Oh, Eland and little sea bass.
I sent just like, when people have a baby, I send because people always go like, oh, wow, congrats on the baby. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Which, A, no one will ever call you out on.
Nope.
2, even if I did need help, that's so vague. When me and Lydia had our baby, so many people were like, if there's anything you can do, that's such a big, broad thing that it's not helpful. It's like when you say, like, call 911 to everybody.
Yeah.
That you have to say, call 911 Derek.
Okay, good. You got the second one in there that time. I'm like, Russell, you do know the number is 911, right?
No, I'm just
call 911.
The shorthand
Why
for 911.
No one helping? Why is no one called 911?
91. Well, my brother worked at Dutch Bros. He said that was his favorite thing. Is they have a drink called a 911, and people would always go like, "Can I get the 911?" That's not what that's called at all.
Okay, actually, is it a Porsche 911 or is it a Porsche 911?
I don't know enough.
You're not a car
cars.
guy?
No.
There is a Porsche 911, and I think it's the Porsche 911. But I can't imagine that the Porsche marketing department has just let that go for so long.
Do you think that was? I don't know about cars. Would that have been out before 911?
I think it was, but I think at a certain point you can't be like, oh yeah, the Volkswagen 10-7, the Volkswagen October 7th. Like,
sure,
Volkswagen's gonna change that.
Volkswagen 016. You mean the Volkswagen January 6th? But anyways, so when people say like, you if there's anything I could do, I'm like, it's too general, it's too vague, it's not actually helpful.
Yeah.
So I saw Elon had a baby, and I'm like, oh, cool. Let me send you DoorDash. Like, make it a specific thing.
Yeah.
Because cooking meals is annoying and hard.
Yeah.
Let me just send you DoorDash. And when Lydia had the baby, so many people gave us casseroles, which was very nice. If you gave us a casserole, I so appreciate it. We didn't have enough freezer space to store all of the casseroles. And then it's like, oh, here's a taco casserole. I made you 30 portions of it. After you have it twice, it's like it wasn't good the first 2 times, and now we've reheated it so many times. It's just getting worse as time goes on. So DoorDash. Anyways, all this is to say, I just sent him DoorDash. You had a baby. Congrats. Here's some DoorDash.
Yeah.
And the little gift card. It auto corrected to Elin struggling. I thought that was pretty funny. Elin struggling is very funny. So, I don't know. Change your Instagram handle.
You mentioned your brother worked at Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
I just picked up Carrie and the kids from the airport, and we had to take this wild way because there was a car accident. We ended up on Deep South Academy in Colorado Springs.
Okay. At Jason's?
At Jason's.
Jason Alexander's Dutch Bros location.
Dutch Bros.
My neck's going to hurt. This is an aggressive angle.
Yeah. And it was the worst run Dutch Bros I have ever been to in my entire life. Jason was very cool. He was out in the line. He was walking in the parking lot, and he took the order, and it was all great. And then the just big glasses. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. The people working on the inside, the girls with gigantic glasses and an attitude, literally sat there and they made each drink individually as two others just kind of like sat there and talked. And one girl made it and like another girl like swapped in and made the other drink. It was like a 13 to 20 minute long wait for 3 drinks. So
I've been to that one twice.
yeah.
One time because I went because I'm like, oh, it's the opening day. I bet Jason will be there. And then I went there and there was a young gal, and I was like, hi. I was hoping to see Jason, and she said, who? And I'm like, oh, good. Jason's been lying to us this whole time about I got a job. Turns out it's just some like trainer lady who was there to help with the opening, so she just didn't know who the people were. Second time I went, Jason was there. Didn't give me a free drink, which I feel like is the point of knowing someone.
He
there.
tried to give me a free drink, and I turned to him and I said, no. I want to cut into the profits.
I deeply want to cut into the profits of Dutch Bros.
Poor Jason.
I get upset when I go to Dutch Bros and I have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I will, because my brother, my wife, my sister-in-law, one of my best friends, Jason, who else? There's just many people in my life who have worked at Dutch Bros. So whenever I go...
Family, friends,
enemies.
Jason.
My best friend. Also, Jason is there.
Jason.
Jason's been there, too.
People I love and care about. Jason.
You did on the way down. You were like, oh, I hate that you're my best friend in comedy. I'm like, oh, that was a mean little suffix you threw it at the end.
That's because every time you talk about your buddy from Miami, you always mention, like, you remember him, my best friend. And I'm always like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I also have somebody from college who's also a good friend.
Yeah, sure. No,
I have other people, not just this podcast keeping me together.
Turn the corner, just keep it in, Mike. Keep it in, Mike.
It just feels so unnecessary. Yeah, I know. Your buddy from Miami. I know.
Whatever.
The sad one.
Hey, he doesn't listen to the podcast.
I know
so
he doesn't.
You're more of my best friend now than he is.
Nailing it.
Because you listen.
Nailing it.
You support. But so every time I go to Dutch Bros, there's someone who's like, oh, you're Beth's brother-in-law, or you're Russell's brother, or you're Lydia's husband, or whatever it is. So I always get my drinks for free. And I was just like expecting, well, of course, Jason's going to go, I work here, get your drinks for free. And I pull him like, hey, buddy, can I get a hot chocolate, a mocha? He's like, absolutely, $6. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything because you're at work right now. But Jason, never charge me for a drink ever again. I've never come.
Who do you think you are?
Your stand is 9 minutes out of the way. I'm not driving 18 minutes there and back just to spend $6.
Jason, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You don't get to host the show anymore. June 9th at Comedy Works South. Mike 50.
It's going to be good. I've got like 15 new minutes, which I'm pretty excited about.
I have one new joke that I'm pretty happy about that I told you that you did not think was funny.
Which one?
You know, I've had sex, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's fine. I've also had a lava cake with fresh raspberries on it. That's just as good.
I'm trying to tone down my natural bittiness. Like, I feel like anytime I'm talking to people, even like people who aren't comics, I'll like be saying something and I'll be like, did you hear what happened with Joe Biden? I'll be like, oh, whatever. And they're like, is this a bit?
Oh, it happens to me with my coworkers.
Yeah. Are you doing a bit right now? And I'm like, well, I mean,
RBV, resting bit voice.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it could be a bit, I guess, now that I'm saying it out loud, but I wasn't intentionally. This is just the way I talk.
This is just my cadence.
To people. And so when I've tried to physically like force that down a little bit and be like, Mike, every sentence doesn't need to have the cadence of like pause, last word of the sentence. Like, it doesn't need to have like this, like, you don't need to have like a closer for every sentence. And so now that I do that, I'm like hyper aware of it. And so when someone else is doing it, my first thought is like, oh, is he doing a bit? Is he doing a bit right now? And when you said that to me, you were very nonchalant. You're more like, this is a new joke I have. You're like, yeah, I'm trying something out, and I, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of was like, it's good. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So I understand that. Sorry if I gave it less than I feel like it deserved.
You were in your head about it?
A little bit. I'm always in my head these days. I can't.
Our family friends, Sarah, thank you for listening to the podcast. Her and her husband were over.
Is this the one you were trash talking earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. At dinner?
Well, I was going to say family friends. I'm like, no, they're just friends. Family friends feels like to do the Jason thing of like my best friends and Jason. Say family friends is like very distancing. But they're our friends. But they were over the other night. And I said something. And Lydia and Sarah both called me out because they're like, because it was to a group of people. It was like a Cinco de Mayo party or something. Said it to a group of people. And then like, are you looking around the room to get everyone's, like, you say the joke down the center, and then you look left, you look right. Like are you getting everyone's reaction from your joke? I was like, I mean, a little bit. It's a good joke.
So I have a question to ask you that Carrie wanted me to ask you. No, not specifically during the podcast, but I keep forgetting to ask you. And I want to ask you, why haven't you invited us over to dinner at your house?
This is a great question. So, I mean, right now, it's because
you have a hole.
We have one out of our 2 bathrooms. We have one of them, and we kick down the wall in our kitchen. Because we're like, if we're renovating, we might as well renovate.
That's right.
So that's a big thing, which we're working on. Hopefully, late.
But not so bad that you can't have a Cinco de Mayo party.
This was at someone else's house. This was not at
somebody
our
else's house.
No,
okay.
no.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
No
All
way. So once we have a nice new kitchen, we'll definitely invite you over. A big thing, and I mean a big thing. Well, 2 things. One, the last time you guys came over to our house, my daughter did eat pills off the floor.
I was about to say Violet ate a handful of pills.
Lydia had just come back from like a work conference thing. And so she had like her suitcase, and then it had like some ibuprofen, some sleeping pills, some other stuff like that. And
it had a Ziploc baggie of loose pills.
You were just saying, you're like, you could tell like Carrie feels really comfortable here because like she's just kind of letting Cal running free. She doesn't feel like she has to hurt him. She feels really safe and comfortable here and with you guys. And then as you're saying that, Violet goes, adult candy is not good. And then I look, and she just had chewed up like a PM ibuprofen, like just covered it.
I cannot stress enough how accurate this story is. This is not bit work
the
at all.
The instant you said it's safe to be here, Violet said adult candy's bad.
It was
just chomping
incredible.
pills.
And then we had a panic. What did she take?
And I was like,
what did she take?
What color was the pill? What color was the pill? Then I had to rub upstairs. I'm like, Lydia, which one was the thin, small blue one? Which one was that?
Oh, God, she took your birth control.
I don't know if it's like, if it's a sleeping pill and actually, hey, we get a hangout tonight, Violet's going to bed, or if it's like your anti-depression. I don't know what it is. So anytime we invite you over, I think about last time we invited them over, there was loose pills around, which there's not. There's loose pills. The biggest reason we're going to talk about it is you guys are, for the most part, you seem to be classier than us. Things are tucked and put away and organized and really well put out and thought and cleaned and all that. Our house is such a shit show, trashy mess that I'm always like, Mike and Carrie are going to look down on us if they come over to our house.
Carrie took the kids to the park. She's like, do you want to come with us? I'm like, I'm going to finish doing these clips. I want to get the commercials and stuff together. And then I was like, I've got 20 minutes. I should clean the house. And so, like, our house was a dump before I just straightened frantically I kept looking out the window.
I have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me boot up Fallout New Vegas real quick and get a couple reps in. No, you guys you seem cleaner and nicer and tidier than us, and I'm just embarrassed by the state of our house.
Oh man, that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, so it's not we dislike you. It's actually I respect you too much to let you see my house.
We just assumed that Lydia didn't like Carrie.
Oh, no way.
That's just what it is. No. That's just what we assumed.
No, my wife likes your wife a lot.
I know.
She doesn't care for you much. If anything,
what is going on
she
here?
Would like to come over and hang out with Carrie without you around more often.
I get that so much.
You mean you understand, or that happens to you a lot?
Both. I get
like
it. I get it. I've told
you
I'm a bad hang. I'm not a good hang. I understand that. It's because I do too much bit work. I'm constantly just bitty the entire time, and I can just see the exhaustion on my friends' wives' face. They're like, ugh, what is this?
I do. I'm sure I've told you this before. At there's a high school I volunteer at. I do advocate work. Have I told you this?
I don't think so.
There's like a
You're
young.
too busy just like adopting babies and doing advocate work.
Sorry, that's why my house is always a mess because I'm too busy being a part of the community. No, there's a high school that my mother-in-law works at, and it's a alternative high school. It's for like kids who got kicked out of other high schools and stuff. So they have advocates. So you come in, you're a student advocate. You're just an adult who will talk to the kid about their life and like, what's going on? What careers are you thinking about?
This is how you avoid ending up like me.
Yeah, pretty much. You have a young man go on your shoulder and go, that's enough. I think that's enough. We've had enough of this. But last time I saw him on Thursday, the high school boy that I advocate with, usually it's like some good back and forth. He's obviously he's an awkward 16-year-old high school student. And
sure.
The high school is full of like kids who flunked out of class, did drugs, got into fistfights, whatever it is. And he's kind of just like, he flunked out of his classes because he didn't try very hard because he was like, this is too easy and I'm not stimulated.
Yeah.
So he just didn't try, and so he failed some classes, so they sent him to this alternative high school. So he's like a normal he's a white, dweeby Mormon kid who's now like surrounded by like gangbangers and stuff. Gangbangers might be a bit aggressive, but nonetheless. So he doesn't like fit in really. So
I like how you said he's just like a normal kid. He's white, you know?
Regular.
Regular.
Default.
Easy, Joe Biden.
You got your black kids, your Asian kids,
and your regular kids.
and your good ones. But we were hanging out. We were sitting having lunch, and I'm talking to him, and I could see in his eyes that he was, like you just said, like kind of exhausted by he was like, to me. As I was talking to him, I could tell he was getting sick of me talking. And I'm like, instead of stop talking, I went full comedy. I'm like, I have to say that I'm bombing. And so I just like started doing more. I just like kept talking more.
Girls are weird, am I right?
He did tell me, he's like, yeah. Because at my high school, there was like, my high school that I went to, not by legislation, but like the kids kind of segregated themselves racially. So like there was the black kids and they all hung out together, and the Hispanic kids hung out together.
I think that's just all schools.
Yeah, and then there was white kids who wore anime cat ears. They all hung out together.
Yeah.
So
we
I
should legislate that.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of there.
So I asked him about that. And I was like, is that still because it's 2024. Is that still a thing people do? Also, because it's an alternative high school, I don't know, does that affect that at all? And he's like, so the big groups, it's not really like a racial thing, but the big groups at our school are athletes, funny kids, which is who I'm a part of. And I'm like, okay. Of course, you're in the funny, cool kids group. He's like, athletes, funny kids, and then I don't know how to say the other one. I was like, you just tell me. You're in a safe spot. You can just tell me what's the other group. He's like, it's all the gay kids. They all hang out. I'm like, that's fine. He's like, no, all of them. I was like, okay. And he was like,
tops,
gay.
bottoms.
He was like, gay, trans, lesbian. I was like, yeah, I know what gay means, but he was like, and I don't know if I need to paint the picture for you. I'm like,
gosh.
yeah, I know what the.
Wow, you've hit it. You think you're like, I am like the young, cool teacher that everyone's like, maybe the girls have a little crush on him and the boys are like, wow, he snowboards, how cool. Nope, you passed that age. You're just like this adult that shows up and he has to like
he thinks he has to explain.
He has to explain gays to you.
Like, yeah, I got the concept. I've been around.
He's like, my parents got me a PS5. Sorry, a PlayStation 5, if you don't know what that is.
It's like a GameCube,
yeah.
but big and good. Yeah, that hurt my feelings. Like,
oh, that's incredible. What's this kid's name and address?
First name and last name? No.
Don't say. Don't say. That's so great.
But yeah, that hurt my feelings. That I was like, he's like gay kids. Now let me explain to you all the letters of LGBTQIAAA++. And I'm like, I know what most of the letters are.
Isn't there a 2 in there now? Isn't there a 2? I need this kid to explain the 2 to me. There's 2 S. There's 2 souls, which I think is a Native American cop out.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
Not to get real conservative with you, but it's like lesbian, bi, gay, trans, queer, Native American.
Listen, okay, I'm just saying there is LGBTQIA2S plus. The 2S is I'm almost 100%
Did you
sure
mean
Native
to say BLT?
did I say
I think you said LGBLT.
lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans,
lettuce, tomato.
Who has the bit? Oh, no, I didn't want to say it because I don't like the bit.
Oh.
But it's the LGKGB or something like that. The
I don't know.
LGBTKGB. I remember somebody has a bit about that. Anyway, this is all going to be cut.
No, you got
Two
one.
Souls. No, Two Souls is definitely, it's a Native American thing. It's just like this whole thing. It's like they're trying to make everything some type of gay, and they've literally gone so far. They're like, black is a type of gay. Native American is a type of gay. You're getting on the flag. You know, so many black people are so not cool with like being on the gay flag. They're like, don't bring us into this, right? Like, they have the trans flag now has the brown and the black stripe on it as well.
Is that supposed to be for browns and blacks?
Yes, I'm almost 100% sure. It's like the I can't think of the whole fucking acronym for it. There's so many acronyms now.
Oh.
I'm too old. I need this kid to explain it to me. But anyway, there is a 2S, and I'm almost positive it's Two Souls, and I'm almost positive that comes from.
I
Native
thought the brown
American.
was for like
butts.
No, I
Poop.
thought it was for like I thought it was for the color of the discharge once they get their dick and balls turned into a vagina. Hello?
Hi.
I need cookies.
Hey.
You came in at a wild time.
That's not exactly what I walked in.
Violet, can I have a hug? Oh, I love you so much. I'll see you later.
Bye, Violet. Bye, Lydia.
Bye. Good luck with whatever you're talking about.
Oh, thank you for my bottle cap.
Lydia, you would know this. 2S in the LGBTQ. 2S. Is that a thing? LGBTQIA 2S.
You're not even saying it right, but 2S? What
There's another acronym.
Spirit.
Two spirits. Two souls. Two spirits.
Two spirits is what Native American people call trans people.
Boom!
Name in some way.
Ah.
Slam dunk on this. What's up to my Cherokee friends?
You came in at a
I can't
weird
use
time.
any of this because Violet's in the shot.
We made it 25 minutes in before we started talking about trans stuff. I love you. Bye, Violet. I love you. Get out.
Russell brought it up, by the way.
I did
He's
not.
mentoring a young gay man.
No.
He's Mormon.
He's Mormon.
Is there a difference?
What? Okay.
Hurry.
Get out.
Let's go.
I love you. Love you, chicken kid. We gotta cut. We gotta.
Gotta cut all of that.
We just gotta blur. We
Let's
gotta
just
clear
go
our
straight
babies
to. Let's just go straight back to. Oh, so you're mentoring a Mormon kid, huh?
You know the thing I just said? I'm mentoring a child. I'm shaping the future of America.
All right. So
You have something you want to talk to me about?
I really dislike Apple TV.
Okay.
We had
This is some juicy stuff.
We had the Fallout drinks, and I've been thinking. Just told my sister. She texted me when I was putting Cal to sleep. I was putting my kid to sleep, and I said, and I said, oh, watch Fallout, and I'm like, it's really good. She's like, isn't that a video game? I'm like, yeah, it's really, really good though. And she's like, well, we don't have Amazon right now. We have Apple, and we have something like that. I just watched Sugar on Apple TV. It's Colin Farrell's like a detective in L.A. It's kind of supposed to be a little bit like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and it has these references. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's true. Everything I've ever watched on Apple TV is terrible, except for like the first season of Ted Lasso. And I can't figure out why it's all so bad. Do you watch anything on Apple TV?
I couldn't name a show off of Apple TV. I think any other streaming service, I could be like, I think that has this, and that has this, and that has this. I have zero idea what is on Apple
All right,
TV.
I know no one is listening at this point, but for the love of God, somebody please help me out. Because I've even Googled, like, why is Apple television so bad? And occasionally, like on a Reddit post, somebody will ask the same question, like, why do I hate everything on this channel? And everyone else is like, you're crazy. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Every show is gold. It's all so good. I can't get through it. It's all terrible. It's like Apple TV is really good writing that gets put into this like apple machine, and it just comes out the other side, and that kind of this like hyper stylized, perfectly formatted, perfectly shot garbage, or it's really bad writing and it just kind of gets like pumped up by this like perfectly stylized, perfectly shot, perfectly.
It goes through an extruder where it all comes out the same.
Yes, it kind of does. Every show on Apple just feels like the main character, even if he's like in this show, he's like, you know, kind of a dark, gritty detective struggling with maybe he wants to kill people, kind of like he's maybe feeling his anger, you know. It's like he also stops to a homeless guy, gives him $100, is like, this could happen to anyone. I just want you to know you're a human being and you deserve dignity and love. And then just like goes on with the rest of the show.
On the forehead.
And it's just like, what was that? And every one of these shows, like they do For All Mankind, which is like an alternate history where the Soviets beat us to the moon. And so then, like, we jumpstart the space race. And as a result of this, we have, you know, female astronauts. And we were building a moon base. And it kind of changes history a little bit. But, like, it's a guarantee that, like, anyone who's a good guy totally doesn't have a problem with women in space. It's 1951 or whatever. Nobody has an issue with this anymore, especially if they're the good guy kind of thing. And it's just kind of like, it's fine. But there's this kind of, it just feels like an algorithm got in there at some point and just kind of like tweaked everything.
Protagonists aren't allowed to have negative features.
Yeah.
Anymore.
It's kind of like that, but then they do give them like some negative, but it's such a like, it's like, well, he struggles, you know, with his masculinity or something. It's like this very generic.
Struggling with your masculinity is like still like a moral thing to be struggling
Yeah,
with. Or
yeah.
Like he's wrestling with his own demons, but it's not like, oh, also he's prejudiced. It's like, that's what Lydia's replaying the Hogwarts game.
Yeah.
Which I think it's set in like 1918. I think it's like pre-World War I.
Oh yeah,
or something
for sure,
like that.
for sure.
And it is funny that wizards, the idea of wizarding, like it doesn't matter if it's 1918, 2024, they use owls, they use brooms, they use ink and quill pens. Like there's a point at which they stopped progressing.
That's so true.
There's a point at which they left technology behind, but at some point, you know, the ink and quill pen was the height of technology. So they were following progression until a certain point to where they made an arbitrary decision to stop progressing.
They're like the Amish.
But also they're like, doesn't matter if it's 2024 or 1918. They're like, hey, black women students, get on in here. Trans,
there was
like
never any segregation in the Wizarding
Hogwarts
world.
game. There's like a bartender who's a trans woman, and they're like, that's all right with us. So it's like, so were you always progressive, or were you always traditional? Like, so with the technology, you're like, from this point on, no pencils, no pens, no markers, no expo, no whiteboard. This black trans students, get on in here. We got, which is, it's just like pick one.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm not saying in Harry Potter let me segregate the school. I'm just that's not what I'm getting.
Listen,
to.
we've got 4 towers. We're not putting them to nearly enough use.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's weird that they're ultra progressive on this side, but not so
Russell,
much on
which house would you put the black trans students into?
Hufflepuff.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
This falls perfectly into my segue of Harry Potter should have had a gun, and this would have been 2 books.
There's an idea I wrote in a joke book when I first started was like, Harry Potter's only cool because he's British, but if he was American, like a lot of it's the accent. But yeah, American Harry Potter doesn't work because he would just have a gun.
You would say retarded a lot.
He'd say retarded. He's like, oh, my dad's already a grand wizard. Huh? He comes with his own cloak. Stuff like that.
Oh, that would be such a funny sketch.
But yeah, it's more of a sketch than it's
more
a
of
joke.
a sketch. That's
But
a
yeah,
great
instead
one.
of you're a wizard, Harry. If that was just like in Denver and it's just like, hey, Harry, you're a wizard. It doesn't have the same zhuzh to it. It only works because it's British.
Yeah, that's so true. But they did the like the 1920s Wizarding America in the expanded The Fantastic Beasts. Did you ever see those?
Is that in America?
Yeah, I think I saw the first one. It's got Eddie Redmayne in it, and he's British, but he goes to America to look for some animal or to fight some guy or whatever. And
I know the guy from Balls of Fury is in it.
Yes, and it's I want to say 20s America, and yeah, same thing. Doesn't address a lot of the other things that were going on. The Wizards like definitely could have helped with at some point.
Jim Crow?
Yeah.
Anybody want to step in?
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Just we gotta deal with these griffins that are loose right now.
These squibble doors got out of the box, and we got to go hunt down these squibble doors.
They're also totally fine with enslaving the house elves, though. Maybe this is all just a metaphor for something else. Maybe we're not reading deeply enough into Harry Potter.
No, I do love the house elves. That is a fun thing where it's like these kinds of people, great. Slavery, hey, no.
You
It's
don't
not slavery
understand. They like it.
because they're bred for it. It's literally in their bones and genetics to be a slave. So that's cool. I think I've heard that before somewhere.
Yeah. So Apple TV.
Back to Apple TV.
Listen. Somebody has to back me up on this. I can't. I feel like this was made. Like Apple TV was made for just a different country almost. I think maybe this is like when they say like America's never been more divided. I think that's probably like, I think if you were a little bit more conservative, you generally don't like Apple TV. And I think if you're a little bit more liberal, you think it's like the best thing you've ever seen. And I, for the life of me, just cannot get into it. Every show I watch, I give a chance to. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And there's a lot of bad TV out there, but Apple is like a hit rate of 1,000. They're batting 1,000 for terrible television shows.
I've never watched an Apple TV show.
Ugh.
All of my subscriptions are my brother-in-law Eli bought them, and also I have them. So I've never paid for it. And then recently, Eli, you let he doesn't listen. Eli, you let your Disney Plus account lapse in case you're listening. And so Violet will want to be like, I want to watch Spider-Man, or I want to watch whatever, and I'm like, we can't. Uncle Eli
is a real
needs to resubscribe. He needs to update his credit card information.
I have a problem. I have somehow subscribed for HBO Max twice. So like on my iPad, I'll start a movie when I'm like on the treadmill. I'm like, oh, I want to finish that. And I go upstairs later, and it's not played yet. It's like untouched. And I go and I look, and everything is like the same. It's my same email. But I think I subscribed like through Amazon to HBO Max.
Gotcha.
And then I've logged in, and I cannot figure out how to undo it. So I just know I'm paying double
somewhere
for, I think, everything. Like everything's on the iPad for one thing, on the TV for the other. And I've called, and nobody can help me. They're like, we don't know what to do. And Amazon doesn't have a helpline, so I understand that. But the other side of that.
Something like that happened to me when we were moving apartments when me and Lydia first got married. And I called to like change my service, and the guy on the phone was like, no, don't switch your service. Don't do that. What you actually want to do is you want to cancel your service here. When you get to your new place, set up a new
Oh yeah, that's
entirely.
bullshit. That's bullshit.
Because you're going to get way more discounts, and I don't know. But I'm like, all right, I mean, that seems like a lot of work. He's like, no, I promise you it's worth it. Trust me. I'm like, all right. So I did that. So I canceled one account, moved to a new house, set up a new account.
Yep.
Redid it. And then found out after 3 months, I have 2 Comcast accounts that are double charging me.
Yep.
And anytime I would go to the portal to log in, same email address, same password, it would just randomly take me to one account or the other.
Yep.
Like they were both living in like a what's it called? Like a liminal space. They were living in parallel dimensions.
Yep.
Where it was a Schrodinger's account. It just depended on which one I logged into. It would pick one at random.
Oh, Comcast is the devil.
Yeah, so I had to call them and be like, I got elevated to like the district, like to the manager of the Rocky Mountain area.
Jonathan Comcast.
Yeah, and he was like, and tell me what happened. I'm like, he told me to unsubscribe and resubscribe here. And he's like, no, none of our employees would have ever told you to do that.
Yeah, they would
like,
never do that.
I'm like,
they
no,
would.
I mean, he told me to do it. He's like, they wouldn't have told you. Okay, I'm sure in the script, maybe it doesn't say that. He told me to do it. Still, it's not my fault either way that I have 2 accounts, your system. But that was like that itself was a 2-week-long process to get that.
I
calling
remember
every single day.
The day I bought my own router, I was like 26 or something. I stopped paying the $5 a month or whatever to get
That was another
theirs.
thing. They charged me for like a year for the $15 router, even though I didn't have the router anymore.
Yeah,
I
they're
sent it back.
monsters. I took it into the Comcast place, and I'm like, I'm canceling all my service with you. I'm totally done. Here's this. And he goes, can I ask you why you're canceling? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is not the bad guy. This is just a dude who works here.
Rep.
And I said, because you're the fucking devil. And I just dropped my shit on the counter, and I walked out. And it felt so good to ruin that guy making $17
Anthony's
an hour a
day.
Yes, to ruin Anthony's day.
Dude, when I was a front desk person for a couple different places, so many people come in and just talk to the front desk person like they're like your policy.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. The fact that you're talking to me means I don't have power.
You're Russell, focus on the family.
Right. You having access to me in itself should tell you I don't have an ability to change anything. People who can change things don't let you go talk to them.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I'm not Russell Center for Creative Leadership Keller. It's not like I'm the heir to the fortune of this nonprofit. I'm just the guy they pay to sit here $14 an hour.
I worked at a call center for TiVo, and I mean, truly, some of the most like dumb calls I've ever had. It's like a woman was like, "Okay, so I want to get a refund for the last 6 months. I haven't used my TiVo," and I'm like, "All right, TiVo, you remember TiVo? You remember TiVo? Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like you have to pay. It's like $9 a month, whatever you could record." I'm like, "Okay, but you had it." And she's like, "Yeah, but I didn't use the TiVo for 6 months. I was out of the country." And I'm
You
like,
should have unsubscribed then.
I'm like, "You should have unsubscribed then." Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, okay, but I mean, I didn't use it." I had to be like, "Okay, if you have a newspaper subscription," I'm like explaining to this like 20-something-year-old woman, like, and you don't read the newspaper, they're still going to deliver it, and you still have to pay for the newspaper, even if you're just throwing them in the trash. And she's just like, there's this dead silence. And she goes, "But I didn't use it." I'm like, "Okay, I can give you $10 back." And then at a certain point, it just becomes like, you know what? No, I'm not going to help you. I could give you back all of the money. Help people, not help desk people, but people on the phone, they can give you back all of the money. It's a scam. They can give you back every penny. They just don't want to because they're so miserable, and you have made their life so much worse by complaining. They're not going to.
Yeah.
I had a lawyer once call me. I spent 45 minutes on the phone with him trying to get back like $25 or something like that. And it really was an issue. Like, he's like, no, he doesn't get this money back. And he goes, you know how much money I make? I make $300 an hour. I make $300. So you know what I'm saying? By this 45 minutes we spend on the phone, you've cost me almost $300.
So why do you want $25?
And I said, "Sir, I make $9.50 an hour. Who do you think is having a worse time right now?" And he goes, "Fair enough." And he hangs up the phone.
I'm objectively winning. You're losing money. I'm making money doing this.
Terrible.
That's such a weird. I like. There are certain things that I just don't understand the mindset to. What were you hoping this would accomplish? One of those I would see is like guy who's trying to fight past bouncer to get into the club. What do you think happens when you get past the threshold of the door? He goes, you got me. Get in. Like he's still going to hunt and chase you in there. It's not like you're good if you make it past him. It's not a test of strength where if you defeat him, you're fine now. He's still going to come get you.
I guess. I mean, I used to work at the Buckle when I was in high school.
Okay.
Of course I did.
At the Citadel Mall?
At the Chapel Hills Mall.
Chapel Hills Mall.
Yeah. And people used to play the Buckle game. You know what the Buckle game is?
Is that where you have to go walk through Buckle, touch the clothes in the back without having a Buckle representative talk to you?
Yes. You have to be able to get in, touch the back wall, and then be able to get out without somebody asking you, "Hey, can I help you with something?"
Yeah, I remember I've done that before.
Yeah, I remember.
I didn't know that was a long-standing thing.
That is, people told me when I worked there, like, it's called the Buckle game, and you have to catch them. It's really important that you catch them. So I would like see a kid come in,
Hey.
I would let him get all the way to the end, and as soon as he's walking out, I go, "Okay, can I help you with something?" And he just go, "Fuck," and just storm out. I think there's an element of that like people take that idea, like, I'm gonna get in the club tonight. I've waited in line so many fucking times to get into this club, and I never get in or whatever. It's like, doesn't matter if I can't stay. It doesn't fucking matter. It's this or Hamas, and I'm going to do one of these two things.
It's either this or I'm climbing monkey bars on a video somewhere.
Yes, and I think they're going to get in, and I think all that matters is you just get to see what. Because honestly, clubs are terrible. You ever been in a club?
No.
You don't. You just talk about someone who's been in a club. They're awful. They're the worst places in the
I
world.
imagine.
They're
I've seen John Wick. There's a lot of killings and sex trafficking.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But it's called Goldies, and it's in or Blondies, and it's
called
in Colorado
Cowboys.
Springs. It's called
and it's 16 and under night at
instead
Cowboys.
of a guild of assassins, it's just pedophiles.
So there's that. There's like you're getting arrested. You're like physically on the ground, getting your hands cuffed behind your back, and you're like, "Stop! I didn't do it." And the cop's gonna be like, "Oh, idiot me! He didn't do it. Get him up." That's one of those of you're on the phone with a guy on customer service and he goes, "Do you know how much money I make?" "Oh, never mind then. Let me change everything about how this interaction's going based on knowing that you make a lot of money."
I think people
What were you
call
hoping would happen?
people call customer service not because they want a problem fixed. It's because they're unhappy that there is a problem somewhere else, or there is a problem there, and
Their marriage is failing.
Their marriage is failing, and God damn it, I'm getting my $9.99 back from TiVo. I can't get her back, but I can get $9.99 back from TiVo, and if I can't make her cry, I can make Rajneesh or Mike, the two guys who work at the TiVo call center, to fucking cry. And yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's I mean, I have gotten into a situation like with a bank, and I'm like, they transferred the money late, and because of that, like the rent didn't get paid, and that goes on my credit. And so I called to punish somebody. I called, do you think that, I said, do you think this is acceptable? Would you be happy if this happened to you? And you can hear the panic setting in on the 17-year-old's voice. Like, no, I wouldn't be happy with this at all. I'm like, well, then what do you think we should do about this? And just let them just go with it.
You're a bad person.
Yeah, it wasn't because like, oh, the money's not there, I'm going to lose my house. But like now I have this scar on my credit, and I'll never own a home if I have this scar on my credit.
Still, can you tell the 17-year-old I'd like to talk to somebody who can help me or do something important?
They never do. There is no mechanism at a call center to actually send you to a manager. When they transfer you to somebody else, it is just somebody who has worked at the call center longer than them. That is the only cue they have. There is no function or ability in most call centers to actually speak to a manager. You're not speaking to I don't know how that happened when you spoke to Jonathan Comcast, but in reality, that does not happen, and they just send you to another person who has been there longer.
I got that. When I was a sales and customer service department lead, and it was me and 4 other people were under me, so it wasn't a whole department. But I would get phone call like escalations that I had to deal with because the employees didn't want to or feel like they couldn't. So I would get escalation calls, but one time I got one that was specifically because where I used to work, I mean, no one cares. Where I used to work is called Axis.
Yes.
AXIS.org. And it was like resources for moms, teachers, youth pastors to like understand the youths better. But someone called in.
Your job was to explain what gay people were.
Yeah, I was my own high school advocate at one point. I used to be that. I used to be hip, cool, and knowledgeable. But so doing that, someone was looking up like parenting resources, something like that. Video, Christian parenting resources, whatever it was. And they were upset that we were the first result on Google because our name was Axis. And it had to do with like, it's a bad name for an organization, but it had to do with like the axis of parenting where it's like all these things are coming together.
Not German, Nazi,
so that's
Japanese.
That's why he called, was because it was like, so you love the Nazis, World War II? And we're like, no, it's like at the axis of a couple of places in your life converging. And he's like, oh, so like World War II. Do 6 million Jews died? And I got the escalation call, not only because I was the manager, but mainly because they were like, Russell's Jewish. He's the one, I think he's Jewish guy who works here. Send the call to Russell and tell him it's cool. Don't worry about it.
There is somebody who works at the Porsche call center who just, their only job is to field the 9/11 calls.
I know. Bad name.
It turns out it was a date before that day. There's been a lot of 9/11s before 9/11.
You're doing Trump.
There was a lot of 9/11s. It wasn't the only one. It was the best. I mean, the worst.
I'm sure the trend of, or adage, cliche, I don't know what to call it, but people who name their daughter ISIS because it's like this beautiful goddess, only to be like, oh, you're a terrorist organization. You're going to go by Pauline. You can go by your middle name from here on out.
It's like she was like, it's like a beautiful, it's like Isis Fatima is like her full name, but then it's like her middle name is Gertrude because that one aunt. So now you're Gertrude Fatima.
What is when the terrorists put a hit out on someone?
Fatwa.
Fatwa?
Fatwa.
Fatwa?
Fatwa.
I love those.
Man.
That was fun.
Man, it is just like, it's like the opposite of a popularity contest. It is.
I thought when I was 16, I'm like, yeah, Steven Crowder has a fatwa put out on him. That must mean he's cool
He's
and
doing
funny.
something right.
That's a good thing for a person to have. That must make you moral and cool.
Which I think is funny because if you look back now, it's like, oh, he treated his wife just like they did.
They should have got on famously.
They would have been best friends if they just seen that security footage.
Steven Crowder, you can't afford 2 cars.
Do you think P Diddy is a CIA asset?
I assume, Michael, that anyone who has over $200 million is a CIA asset.
Yeah. I was listening to something, and the dude points out, he goes, I'm not saying the world is full of conspiracy theories. I'm not saying, 9/11 was an inside job. I am saying that Hillary Clinton's husband is a sexual predator. Obviously. Clearly. At best, he kind of pursued much younger women from a much higher position of power and was fucking girls in the White House. And then Hillary Clinton's best friend, Humana, was also married to a sexual predator who would send pictures of his genitals to underage girls. How often do you think that happens, that a powerful woman is best friends with another powerful woman, both of whom have sexual predator husbands? He goes, that makes me raise my eyebrows. Like, that's a little suspicious of all of this whole thing. So, what were we talking about before I got onto this?
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy. So, when I see that, like, oh, yeah, there's just tape of P. Diddy just beating the fuck out of somebody that just, like, somebody was sitting on. It's just been around.
Because you can't – I did read something that's like, it can't be used in court because of the statute of limitations.
Well, yeah, they can't prosecute him because it's over like 5 years. You can't prosecute assaults.
But you've had
after that
video
time.
evidence.
But it's just been here this whole time,
yeah.
And apparently he's been filming a bunch of other people. Like I mean, if I was a big conspiracy theorist, and I'm generally not, I would say, yeah, you've got Jeffrey Epstein, in the Moloch temple and everything, getting all the rich white politicians. I didn't see a single black dude on that list of people flying to the island. But there's tons of rich, powerful black celebrities, and there's tons of that. I think there's clearly a black Jeffrey Epstein, and I think it was P. Diddy. I think his whole job was he got set up in these cush positions with these powerful people and everything like that, and all this money options and all these jobs to get to these people. Like once maybe he already had all of these things, and then they used him as an asset to get these guys, and then have control over them. I think P. Diddy was the same thing. I think there's probably, maybe a gay one of those or an Asian one. Maybe there's like a League of Avengers of people who just film other people fucking. I don't know, but I think P. Diddy definitely is the black Jeffrey Epstein, and I think he is definitely probably some sort of government.
And that's why November 9th, you're going to vote for RFK Jr.
I actually like RFK Jr.
He's going to dissolve the CIA and the FBI. November 9th, vote for RFK. June 9th, get your tickets to see Mike Hammock. Don't forget. Denver Comedy Works. There's still plenty of time.
I was going to say, are we done? Is this
I'm not wrapping it up.
I think P. Diddy is
Black Epstein. Buy tickets.
June 9th. Have a great night, everybody.
No, I do like RFK. But, no, I think, like, anyone who's in a position where you have not a condo. He has like what's the word I'm looking for? He has like he has a house, and that house has property where there's other houses on it and recording studios. You know what I'm talking about?
Compound.
A compound.
Compound.
Thank you. Anyone with a compound is a CIA asset because you're having you're big, rich, and famous. You're having other big, rich, famous people parties. Those big, rich, famous people parties, at the very least, involve some kind of drug salaciousness. There's probably like getting drunk, doing drugs. At the very minimum, handsy with the wait staff, whatever it is. You tape that, and that's at like bare minimum. Before it's like, oh, you took the waitress against her will.
Yeah.
There's cameras all around these compounds. It's all rich, famous people doing bad, rich, famous people stuff. And even if you're not planning on being a CIA asset, I'm sure the CIA comes to you and says, hey, we know that you let the waitress get taken in the bathroom by Michael Phelps, to slander a man.
Yeah.
Just to pick a name. So either
He went down on her for hours. He can just hold his breath for so long.
he doesn't build up the lactic acid.
By the way, that's what those suction marks were all over him. It was just children's lips. Watch the Olympics where Michael Phelps swim. He's covered in children's lip suction marks.
In hickeys?
In hickeys. That's what they're called, hickeys.
I don't know condominiums. I don't know compounds. You don't know hickeys. I don't know real estate. You don't know the touch of a woman, of a child.
They'll never get me having sex on tape because I don't have sex at all.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I think it's like the CIA will just go, hey, we're going to put you away for rape or pedophilia forever.
Any other crime, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Or you can let everyone do all those things and just feed us the information and we'll snitch on you. But I think that's anyone with a compound or has rich people parties just because of the nature of what happens at rich people parties.
Michael Jackson was getting dirt on child celebrities. That's why he was banging all those young child celebrities.
What's Macaulay Culkin up to behind the curtain?
He is the child Jeffrey Epstein.
I love Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Child stars.
Yes.
How do you feel?
He was the one from The Sixth Sense, right?
Yeah.
Is he still doing anything?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he does adult. I was going to say adult movies, but that sounds like Haley Joel Osment's out there giving it to the waitress in someone's compound somewhere. No, he does. Yeah, he's done some stuff.
No.
He's fun.
I think, back to it, I think they make it like, oh, hey, you got in a little trouble with your taxes. We're going to take care of that for you. And in order, to make it up to us, you're going to serve your country. I think that's how it starts. Like, you're going to help us out. We've got this terrible guy, this sheik, this whatever. He's a big fan. We want you to have him out to your house, and then we're going to put up some cameras and get him admitting to
We're going to let him take a child.
money laundering or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the cameras go up, and then the cameras never leave. And then it's,
Well,
hey,
also, they never take any of these people down. They just sit on the footage in case they ever need to blackmail that guy later down the road.
That's how you know that this is definitely something, because nothing from the Epstein list has ever leaked. They have none of these people have ever gotten the client list. Nothing as far as from the P Diddy tapes have leaked. Soon as they caught him with the tapes and stuff, suddenly there's tape of him beating the fuck out of a singer. So no one's gonna believe or listen to him ever again. His life is ruined. He's done. And so now all these tapes, all this footage. Where is it? Where are the tapes from all the P Diddy banging sessions? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's my big conspiracy theory. Is I think there is definitely a cabal of CIA or FBI or somebody else who are using these tapes to just keep control of celebrities and politicians and academics and all of that.
I don't mind that RFK had a worm in his brain because I've been watching a lot of Dune recently.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been taking spice. Spice turns you into a worm. He's got a gravelly throat because of all the spice he's been taking.
I think he should just have a good cry and get it out of his system. It sounds like he's just always on the verge of tears. He's always.
I need RFK to become president so I can usurp Jason as being guy who does one impression.
Can you do a good RFK?
I'm working
Russell
on it.
does a great RFK.
Jr.
Go ahead, Russell.
I'm RPK. RFK shouldn't be too hard.
Oh, that was actually your initials. That's really
Yeah.
disappointing. I thought there was going to be
A big punchline there.
I thought RPK was like P Diddy.
Real penis kid or something.
Please do your RFK impression.
No, I don't. I'm working on it.
You're working on it?
Yeah.
How you just
You have to just barely. You have to not talk and just get it above. You can't hear anything.
I think that, no.
But you have to get it just above that. So right now, what I'm doing is you have to get it just at the part. You have to really just, and then you do it too hard, and then you just sound like you're talking.
That's really good.
There's a sweet spot you have to hit of almost choking yourself, and then just forcing it out. And I've been trying to hit that sweet spot and stay in it consistently.
That was really good. That was
RFK's not going to be the president as much as I want him to be, but man, if he is, I'm going to be the only RFK comedian. But yeah, it hurts really bad to do that.
There's a really great comic named Trey Stewart who's out there. Worked with him a couple times, and he's doing fundraisers for RFK, and he says he's great. Like, I'm a huge RFK
seems like
fan.
a cool guy.
He seems great.
He's married to Curb Your Enthusiasm wife.
I know.
That's cool as hell.
And the only thing I know that the reason I like him, part of the reason I like him so much, same conspiracy theory, is that
the government keeps killing his family.
Every week there's a new dead Kennedy. There's like some bizarre, embarrassing story about him that's just like, who leaked that? Like, RFK had a worm. Like, okay, like. There's a
like 16 years ago.
There's a medical record that, like, yeah, he had a worm in his brain. It might have eaten a tiny little bit of it because that's what parasites do. But, like, why is this, like, everyone, like, it came out as this, like, RFK says he's got worms in his brain. What a nut. And it's like, well, yeah, like, but why is this an article? Like, there was some article, like, RFK has a boozy, fart-filled lunch in which he says COVID doesn't affect the Jews as much. And it's like, what? And it's like, who would leak?
They're going after him so much that it's definitely.
It's so clearly just like everyone's on the fucking just marching orders. Like, we got to do a lot of things, right? But we got to make sure that RFK doesn't become president.
It was like top 10 worst things to happen to a Kennedy's brain. And RFK worm was number 9 on the list.
That's so good. Oh my god!
I think it was a clickhole article. Top 10 worst things to happen to Kennedy's brain, and it's you got John, you got Robert, you like literally just go down the line of.
The B had a great one. It was the B. It says RFK supports aborting babies by drowning them in the Chappaquiddick.
I don't get it.
See, nobody gets that. RFK's father or uncle, wasn't JFK, it was Bobby Kennedy. He was drunk with his secretary in the car, and they drove off a bridge, and he just left her there to die in the water. And he swam out, went to a motel, sobered up, called his lawyer, then called the police. And I think they made a movie about it called Chappaquiddick. Anyway, yeah, so B's killing it these days.
Yeah, I want RFK to win because they keep killing his family.
Dude.
And if he I just hit the microphone on my teeth. I got worm brain.
I didn't.
Do you see the little audio spike from on my teeth? If he gets even close to actually winning the presidency, because right now his strategy is I only have to win 34% of the vote. I don't have to win 50%.
Yes, he needs to take enough away from both sides.
I have to win 34% of the vote, and there's some states where he's like. It's like he's within 8 or 10 points of both Biden and Trump, where he's like, reasonably, I could possibly, he would be like the highest shooting third party candidate since the 1800s or whatever.
No, since Nader, since Ralph Nader in like the 90s. Like I think, the reason Clinton won is Nader took like 8% of the vote, and he took it all from Bush, and so Bush would have beat Clinton otherwise. Bush Sr.
But the point being, I think if he actually gets like close to winning the presidency, he will commit suicide. And it's just like, oh, the pressure was too much for him, and he committed suicide. And I'm just so interested to see if they're going to be so blatant about it. Because if he gets even kind of within the ballpark, he's a dead man. And I just want to see how high can he get before they metaphorically and literally pull the trigger.
I don't think they do that anymore. I think they really they burned every bridge they had. When they killed JFK, they were like, that's okay, we can't do this anymore.
I mean, if we want to get conspiracy, wasn't Epstein like a couple years ago? And they
Okay,
just
but
killed
I
that
think
guy
it's like
instead of
cigarettes.
suicide?
It's like this is the last one. All right, no more.
It's just
We're
sin
done.
couches from here on
From
out.
here on out.
I'm just overthrowing dictatorships in third world countries. No more killing Kennedys.
And then because
And then they get itchy after a couple months. Like it's just,
after
it
JFK,
just hits so
they
good.
did kill RFK's dad because he was second. They killed because then they also killed like his cousin in a plane crash or something like that. And they're like, all right, we've got to stop killing Kennedys. I know their souls are the best of all of them, but we have to switch
Their
to something else.
adrenochrome is the sweetest of all.
I think they would just plant like child porn on his computer. I think that's just there'd be some. He'll be like, oh yeah, didn't he go to like a P Diddy party or something like that? It'll just be RFK's hulking frame just on top of Justin Bieber or something like that, with his weird crackly voice, belting out the lyrics to "Baby, Baby, Oh Baby."
Wait. See, now that I have to do it on the spot, I can't get better. Also, I don't know if I want to do RFK raping Justin Bieber. I don't know if that's the impression I want.
Oh my god!
See, I had it good for a second.
Baby, 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 oh baby.
So that's
I
just
can't-
like
I can't-
raspy.
yeah, that's
voice
just
guy.
raspy.
It
You-
has to come and go.
Yeah, it does.
When my father was killed in that restaurant, no, there was a waiter there who I don't know enough about Robert Kennedy getting shot to do RFK Jr. talking about, but it's something there. There's
You
something there.
will need the mic to be like jacked to have anyone hear that. Otherwise, people are just gonna be like, "Oh, he's bombing. He's freezing on stage right now."
Just going. No,
This is my impression of RFK.
because I have to get the actual voice, and then I also have to do, I don't know, a Queen's accent on top of that voice wherever he's from, Rhode Island or Vermont, somewhere northeast.
All you need is Jason Alexander in the wings, and when you're doing the RFK impression, no, just a red light dot just shined on your forehead. Just get what are the little pen
that was
light?
good. I thought you were saying have him black guy laugh like he does in all of my sets. He did.
Too supportive, Jason. You're too supportive.
He messaged me after the last clip I posted. He's like, I'm sorry I had too good of a time and I ruined your tape.
Yeah, I can hear him at every show that he goes to. He's the what was his name? He doesn't go to shows anymore. He's a famous Denver audience member.
Dave Caldwell?
Dave Caldwell, yes. Any taping of any comic, you know if Dave Caldwell was in the audience. Ha! Ah! Ah! That's Jason now.
Yeah, Jason's our Dave Caldwell.
He's our Dave Caldwell.
I remember when I worked at New Talent Nights, when I worked at Comedy Works, Anthony Armstrong
Yeah,
Would
he's got a
sit-
good laugh.
would sit in the back. The meanest laugh I've ever heard in my life. Wouldn't laugh for anything good, only if you're doing bad. And it was the meanest laugh. It was so good, and I miss it. And I think he's crazy now or something. I don't know if he does stand
I
up
haven't seen him
anymore.
in a long time.
I tried it because I wanted to book him for Pike's Punks, and it's just a lot of pictures on his Facebook of like a pyramid,
Oh,
just
no.
a lot of pyramids and stuff.
No, see, he went too far. He went too far with the conspiracies. You got to stop when you start getting to pyramids and symbols and Rockefellers and all that.
What's Rockefellers?
Rockefellers, like the Rockefeller family.
I know the Rockefeller family.
Yeah,
What's their conspiracy?
They're
theory?
still so the Rockefellers are still one of the wealthiest families in the world. They have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they run something called the Rockefeller Foundation, which we have now linked to a lot of these just kind of very extremist groups. Like the Rockefeller Foundation funds another group which is funding these Palestinian protests on campuses and stuff like that. And so anytime you get kind of like these astroturfed things like, oh, everyone suddenly has all the same tents. Like, where did this grassroots movement get 75 tents that are all exactly the same?
Oh.
You can kind of just track it back to like it's one step away from like the Rockefellers. And so a lot of people think they pick the president. They're running the world.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, like the
Some of that-
Rockefellers and like there's like 3 other big families or something like that.
I get that to an extent. Like the most wealthiest person in the world gets to pick who the president is.
Soros, yeah.
Yeah, I get those. But on the other hand, where it's like, well, this organization is funded by this organization, which is funded by the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
I get you could be doing some, like, not laundering money thing, but, like, where you're trying to diffuse where the money's coming from over. But at a certain point, it's like they're the richest family in the world giving out money. At a certain point, like, that's going to go to a group that you disagree with somewhere along the line.
Yeah, but at the
Like,
same time,
you're just
that's
casting a wide net of donations.
that's not a hard thing. If you're the richest family in the world and you're like, hey, we want to fund some things that might not be very popular, but we think they're important, please set up 2 shell corporations or 2 charities. And
Shell
fund it through-
corporations, that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
please put it through to both of those. That's also not like a lift for them. That's like breakfast for them.
No,
It's like,
no,
yeah,
for
just
sure.
Whatever.
I have a hard. I'm not saying it's incorrect. I agree with the premise, but I have a hard time buying into those ones as much because, like, that could go either way. Where you could do the shell corporation, or it's just like no, they just give out a lot of money to people. It's not juicy either way. You know?
I know. It's juicy for me. I see this. I'm like, because like, you're the richest people in the world, and you're just like giving away money to this group that then gives tents and hires people to come to, like, what a weird thing to give money to. Why is this even part of a charity?
Well,
like,
I saw something. I don't remember what it was like when Vivek Ramaswamy was running for president.
Wow. What a nut that guy was. I fucking love Vivek.
But there was something.
Vivek.
He was against. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, well, didn't you accept? Someone was interviewing him. It was like, didn't you accept
The Soros.
George
yeah.
Soros's like family fund thing to get to college? And he was like, yeah. I mean, I took the money. It doesn't mean I support George Soros, but there was money that was available that I qualified for, and I took the money. They're like, so you don't support George Soros? He's like, no, I don't. I don't like him. I don't agree with his policy. It was just like a scholarship you could apply for. I applied for the scholarship and I got the. That's
Yeah,
how I could
fair
see
enough.
the Rockefeller thing, where it's just like, it was money that was available. I got the money. I applied for a grant. I got the grant from the Rockefellers,
Fair enough.
and
Yeah,
then
that's true.
also I supplied tents. But the Rockefellers just like had a grant you could apply for.
Fair enough.
Doesn't mean, but it could 100% also be, if you're billionaire, trillionaire, whatever,
Yeah.
you can afford enough people to set up shell corporations and stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm like, that doesn't. I want a Clinton body count. I want something that's like,
Oh
these
my
people
God.
specifically have a lot of weird deaths attached to them.
Yes. So back to Anthony Armstrong. Speaking of conspiracy theories, we were on the road together, me, him, and Alan Bromwell, and we were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and very pretty town, very cool, like little casino town. And me and Alan Bromwell got blackout drunk, and we were screaming at each other in an argument over whether or not plants can talk to each other. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. Obviously, plants can't talk to each other. They don't have neurons. They can't speak. There's no language. They don't have a brain. And Alan was like, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Very clearly winning this argument. And Anthony kicks open the door of the Airbnb, and he is just in boxers and a do-rag. And he goes, y'all need to shut the fuck up right now. And I'm like, no. You need to settle this for us. And so me and Mo
Get in
and he
here.
goes, all right, I'm taking a shot. And then by smash cut, 20 minutes later, Anthony, me, and Alan are all screaming at each other over that plants can talk to each other.
What team was Anthony on?
I think Anthony was on Alan's side. He's like, no, I think they can talk to each other. And we all went to bed angry, like blackout drunk and angry. It's like, fuck you, I'm going to bed. And just
Not in like a fun, we're having a little.
no, it was like we were like grabbing each other by the face and like shaking each other, like mad at each other.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this would have been like 7 or 8 years ago, I think, at this point. This was like a couple years before COVID. So yeah, like 7 or 8 years.
It doesn't feel that long ago.
It was one of the biggest fights I've ever been in somebody with over absolutely nothing. And the next day we were all so hungover, we never talked about it again. We just drove the car for the next 8 hours that day in like dead silence.
Have you brought it up since?
I don't think we have. I don't see Anthony anymore.
Yeah.
I only ever see Alan. I'm going to do his show on May 24th. May 24th, Comedy Works downtown.
What's his show?
He's doing like a Colin Quinn, Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. It's called Backstage, and so it's bunch of comics hang out and we talk shit about each other, and then like he'll give us topics to discuss. We're all just gonna riff on it. It's probably gonna be pretty good because I'm on it.
Well, when you see
I'm
him,
good at riffing.
you can tell. So trans people, when you see him bring up the plant argument, I want to know if he goes like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I've never wanted to strike a man."
Promise you, he remembers it
more in my life.
The question is does he still think plants can talk to each other?
Bring it up
Which is
on stage.
Fucking stupid. I will do that.
So after this, we need to wrap up soon. Remind me about comedians saying mean things and talking shit about each other. I have something off pod I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. Look at you. You're headlining Comedy Works June 9th. You're at Comedy Works May 24th.
Yeah.
You opened for Rob Schneider.
I did, and John Lovitz and Adam Carolla.
Who
You
else?
know,
John J. Brewer? What's his name?
Jim Brewer? No, I didn't
Jim
do Jim
Brewer.
Brewer. But I feel like I've really found my niche of featuring for older conservative white guys.
Who were on SNL.
Who, most of them, yeah. So it's only a matter of time before I get sex trafficked with one of these guys. Someone's got to be the comedy Epstein. Who is it? Who would be the comedy Epstein?
I mean, like in terms of they're the
They're the
broker.
dude, yes, who gets.
They're the knowledge broker.
Yes, they bring all the features, and then they get you, fucking in their mansion, and then years later when you're famous, they whoop out the tapes, and then you've got to start, supporting Amy Schumer.
Open bar comedy.
Ron Feingold. Ron is a nice man. He's a good man.
Feingold.
Open bar special comes out September 18th.
Is it?
Yes.
It's happening, everybody. He's probably just sitting on those waiting for a sex scandal to pop up with any one of these people before he releases it.
I honestly started to wonder if these were ever going to come out. And then, the day before, I was like, I'm going to call him. I got an email. It's like, here's when it comes out.
All right.
September 18th.
September 18th. Did you pick a name for it yet?
I think it's called Captive Audience.
Nice.
But I don't remember. I don't remember what we talked about. I don't remember what I told him. If I told him it was just going to be Charm Offensive. I think I'm just going to take Charm Offensive.
Part 2.
I think I'm just going to take Charm Offensive off the internet. And I'm just going to take it down and just do it again later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just won't tell anyone I'm recording it. I'll just record it and just put it back out, and it'll
Use
be
your
better.
cool little things you got now. What are those? Tell me what those are called again.
Those are Lark M2 mics.
Lark M2 mics.
Yes, they're really, really good. You could have used them for this. But this is a better aesthetic. I like this.
This is
I
a
like
good
the mics.
Yeah, you don't want a Britney Spears mic. There's something about having a little pin on your shirt, having this feels like.
Yeah, this feels weighty. This feels like,
because we're saying something important.
Yeah, you can put it away from your face. You can
You
laugh
can
at
burp
stuff.
into it.
Yeah. God, this whole thing is going to be just.
How did you? We never talked about. How do you feel about the peach mango? First of all,
Terrible.
No,
No, it's not terrible. It's not anything I would drink.
it's mostly peach.
Yeah.
Very little mango.
Not a lot of mango in that.
You told me before we started recording you've never eaten a mango before.
No, I have. I love mangoes. Mangoes are incredible. I only ate a mango for the first time 6 months ago, and I discovered dried mango, and now I've dedicated a large portion of my life to it.
What you said to me was, when we're in your backyard, you're like, mangoes are my favorite fruit. I've never had a mango. And then you start talking about peaches or something. But I thought that's where it ended, where you just love mango-flavored things, but you've never had a mango before.
No. I eat probably about 2 pounds of dried mango every other day. I probably eat about a pound of mango a day, dried mango. It's so good. It's the best. Cannot describe it. It's my favorite thing in the world. And it gives me just the worst gas imaginable. I am so sick the day after I eat a pound of mango that I can barely even stand
You tried
up.
half a pound.
No, I refuse to capitulate. And so I have this wonderful love-hate relationship with mango. It's the best. There was not a lot of mango in that. Very much more peach.
Okay. Well, Nuka Cola Victory, what would you give it out of 10? I've never had someone review fully the soda. You're the first one.
5.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
I wish it was strawberry.
Yeah, strawberry's pretty good.
I don't know. Well, we're running out of steam. How was your?
I'm pretty tired.
How was your beer?
Beer was great.
Okay.
Leffe, blonde, winner of the World Beer Contest for best Belgian-style blonde, I believe, at some point. This gives me a rash, but I still drink it anyway.
Okay. I get eczema when I get really stressed. Have I told you this before?
So just pre and post sex.
Yeah, just my wife brushes me gently and I break
just
out in
red
oil
welts.
and I hit my teeth on the mic again. I've been holding a microphone for 5 years. I've
We
never
should just
done
cut
once.
it right there. When you say I hit them out and just cut black.
I hit
Instant
it
cut
so
to black.
hard the podcast shut down. Someone did tell me, I think it was Roger, but he's like, I like how your podcasts just kind of start. There's no like introduction, there's no song, there's no like, it just kind of begins.
Yeah.
And I think I should start doing that with the ending, where maybe we talk for another 10 minutes, but I cut this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And
listen.
it just sort of ended at some
You
point.
definitely should end this with like the Epstein talk or
RFK impression.
RFK impressions.
We
We should
really
not have
ramped-
continued on with a lot of this.
I felt like we had more left in the tank, and we
I'm truly actually
really
very
petered
tired.
out.
Yes.
uh,
I feel bad that this wasn't a very good bubble boy.
I feel like it was good up until I think we got to an hour and we were cooking. And then the
Yeah.
last 20 minutes we've been holding on
Yeah.
because we just like chit-chatting,
Yeah.
but we're not doing a big thing.
Yeah. I keep waiting for you to go, well, I'm like, oh no, he's one. Okay, we're going to review the soda now. Okay, we're going to review the soda. Russell, if you, as a Jew, had to send something to the people of Palestine, what soda would you send them to quench their thirst?
I don't know. There's a sweet corn soda that's been catching my eye lately. I want to give it a shot.
A sweet corn soda.
Yeah. Is that halal?
Yeah, I think corn's halal. I think they'd be okay. And how would you want it to get into the country? Would you want it to be airdropped on them or run across the border?
I want them to use it to flood their underground tunnels with just a sticky, syrupy, sweet corn soda.
How long would you wait before sending them to them? Would you make it conditional?
On what?
On surrender?
On stop raping all these Jewish civilians.
And then you'll get the sweet corn soda.
I'd say stabbing is fine. The rape, okay, all right, we'll cut there. Goodbye.